Lily, sweetie, please slow down, I called out, watching my 8-year-old daughter bounce around the store like a rubber ball in a tiny room. Her brown curls danced with each jump as she examined every swimsuit on display, her excitement practically radiating off her small frame. "But Mom," Aunt Sarah said, "it's going to be the biggest pool party ever. I need the perfect swimsuit." Her eyes sparkled with pure joy, the kind only children can muster. I smiled, though my heart ached slightly. Sarah's pool parties were legendary in our family, mainly because she and her husband, James, had bought that massive house with a resort-style pool last year, the same house our parents had practically emptied their retirement fund to help them acquire. "This one," Lily squealed, holding up a sparkly blue swimsuit with ruffles. "It matches the pool tiles." I checked the price tag and winced. $45 for a child's swimsuit wasn't in my budget, but seeing her face light up like that. "Okay, sweetie. But remember what we talked about at the party?" "I know, Mom. I need to be calm and ladylike, like Aunt Sarah says." She rolled her eyes in that dramatic way only kids can perfect. If only I'd known then what was coming. The day of the party arrived with perfect weather. Sunny, warm, with just enough breeze to keep things comfortable. Lily was ready 2 hours early, practically vibrating with excitement in her new swimsuit. "Mom, can we go now? Please?" she asked for the 10th time in as many minutes. "Soon, baby. We don't want to be too early." I was finishing up some work emails. Being a single mom meant every minute counted, especially since I'd started my own small consulting business. Finally, we headed to Sarah's house. The moment we pulled into the circular driveway, I noticed something was off. Usually, Sarah's parties had cars lined up down the street, but today, there were only a few vehicles I recognized as belonging to our immediate family. Lily didn't notice anything amiss. She was out of the car before I could fully stop, her beach bag bouncing against her side as she ran to the front door. Sarah opened it before we could ring the bell. My sister stood there in a designer swimsuit cover-up, her perfectly highlighted hair arranged in what I knew was supposed to look like an effortlessly messy bun. But I knew Sarah. Nothing about her was effortless. "Emma," she said, her voice tight. Then her eyes dropped to Lily, who was practically bouncing on her toes. "Oh, you brought her." My stomach dropped. Of course I brought her. "You invited us to your pool party." "I invited you," Sarah corrected, still blocking the doorway. "I thought I made that clear when we talked last week." "What?" I felt my face flush. "No, you said, and I quote, 'You should come to my pool party next Saturday.' You knew I wouldn't leave Lily behind." "Mom?" Lily's voice was small, confused. "Aunt Sarah, I brought my new swimsuit. Look, it matches your pool." Sarah's face did something complicated, a mixture of annoyance and what she probably thought was pity, but looked more like contempt. "Emma, can we talk privately for a moment?" Before I could respond, our mother appeared behind Sarah. "What's taking so long?" "Oh, Emma dear, we thought you understood. This is an adults-only gathering." "Since when?" I demanded, my hand finding Lily's shoulder protectively. "Since we decided we wanted a sophisticated afternoon," Sarah said, as if that explained everything. "You know how Lily gets. She's so energetic. Last time she was here, she splashed water everywhere and disrupted everyone's conversation. She's 8. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She was playing in a pool. That's what kids do in pools." Mom? Lily's voice cracked slightly. Don't they want me here? Sarah had the audacity to sigh, like we were inconveniencing her. It's not that we don't want you here, sweetie. It's just that today is for grown-ups. Maybe next time. There won't be a next time. I cut in, my voice ice cold. Come on, Lily. We're leaving. But, Lily started, tears welling in her eyes. No, baby. We don't stay where we're not wanted. I turned to Sarah and our mother. You know what's interesting? You had no problem with Lily's energy when I was paying for your pool maintenance last month, or when I covered your landscaping bill because James was between projects again. Sarah's face flushed. That's different. This is about maintaining a certain atmosphere. This is about you being a terrible aunt and an even worse sister. I squeezed Lily's shoulder. Say goodbye, sweetie. We're going to have our own pool party. The tears were flowing freely down Lily's cheeks now. But I don't want to say goodbye. I want to swim in the pretty pool. That's when I saw them through the open door. Our cousins, aunts, uncles, all pretending not to watch this scene unfold. Some looked uncomfortable, but none spoke up. Even our father, who I could see sitting by the pool, kept his eyes firmly fixed on his phone. Something in me snapped. You know what? I pulled out my phone. Give me 1 minute, baby girl. I'm going to make a call that will change everything. Sarah's eyes narrowed. What are you doing? I held up a finger as I dialed, putting the phone on speaker deliberately. Hi, is this still Dave from Metropolitan Pools? Yes, Emma Harrison here. Remember that maintenance contract I've been paying for my sister's pool? Yes, the big one on Oak Drive. I need to cancel that immediately. Also, please send the final bill to the homeowner directly. Sarah's face went from red to white so fast, I thought she might faint. You can't do that. I ignored her, still on the phone. Yes, that's right. And Dave? I'm also going to need a quote for a pool installation at my place. Something really special. Money's no object. I hung up and smiled at my sister. You see, Sarah, while you and James were busy throwing sophisticated parties, I was building my business. That consulting work you always mocked. It's a 7-figure company now. I just didn't flaunt it because, well, I'm not you. You're lying, she sputtered, but I could see the doubt in her eyes. Am I? Remember last month when your pool heater broke? Who paid that $3,000 bill? And the monthly maintenance? The chemicals? The cleaning service? All me, sister dear. Because despite everything, I wanted Lily to enjoy this place. But clearly, that was a mistake. I looked down at my daughter, whose tears had slowed as she listened to this exchange. Come on, Lily. Let's go home and start planning our own pool. One where everyone is welcome to be as energetic as they want. Emma, wait. Our mother started, but I held up my hand. No, you all made your choice. Now watch what happens when you exclude the wrong person from your party. As we walked back to the car, I heard Sarah's shrill voice. James, call Dave right now. This can't be happening. But it was happening, and it was just the beginning. I helped Lily into the car, my mind already racing with plans. Hey, sweetie, how about we stop for ice cream? She sniffled, buckling her seatbelt. Can we get sprinkles? We can get everything you want. I started the car, watching Sarah and our mother having what appeared to be a heated discussion in the doorway. And you know what else? I think it's time we looked for a new house. Something bigger, with a perfect spot for a pool. Really? Her eyes lit up despite the tears still clinging to her lashes. Really? And here's the best part. Our pool parties will be open to everyone who knows how to be kind. No sophisticated atmospheres required. As we drove away, I couldn't help but smile. Sarah thought she was excluding an overactive 8-year-old from her precious pool party. Instead, she just triggered a series of events that would change everything. Because what my dear sister didn't know was that her perfect house, with its perfect pool and perfect lifestyle, was built on financial quicksand, and I'd just pulled the first support beam. The next morning, my phone exploded with messages. Sarah, James, our parents, all demanding explanations, apologies, retractions. I ignored them all and called my real estate agent instead. Marion, remember that property we discussed? The one next door to my sister's. I'm ready to make an offer, above asking price if necessary. Lily sat at the breakfast table, happily munching her cereal. Mom, can my friend Katie come to our pool when we get it? Of course, sweetie. All your friends can come. I smiled, already imagining Sarah's face when she realized what was happening. In fact, we'll make it a regular thing. The house next to Sarah's had been on the market for months. It was bigger, had better views, and most importantly, had the perfect slope for a spectacular infinity pool, one that would overlook Sarah's yard completely. By noon, Marion called back. Offer accepted. They're thrilled to close quickly. I looked at Lily, who was now drawing pictures of what she wanted our pool to look like: slides, fountains, a shallow area for her dolls to swim. Her imagination knew no bounds, and for once, neither did my budget. Perfect, I told Marion. Let's make it happen. The text from Sarah came minutes later. You can't be serious. That house? Next door to me? I finally replied, watch me. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't just about getting even. It's about teaching your daughter that she deserves better than people who would exclude her for being exactly who she is. A joyful, energetic, perfectly imperfect 8-year-old. And if that lesson came with a view of Sarah's increasingly desperate attempts to maintain her sophisticated atmosphere while her financial house of cards began to collapse, well, that was just the chlorine icing on the cake. 2 weeks after the pool party incident, construction began on our new house. The sound of heavy machinery next door to Sarah's peaceful oasis started promptly at 7 a.m. every morning, perfectly within city ordinance hours, of course. I was in the kitchen of our temporary rental, making Lily's lunch, when Sarah's number flashed on my phone for the 100th time. This time, I answered. Do you have any idea what you're doing to our property value? She hissed without preamble. Improving it, actually. Custom infinity pools tend to raise neighborhood appeal. I kept my voice light, casual. Oh, and you might want to cover your pool today. Construction dust can be terrible for the filtration system. But then again, that's not my problem anymore, is it? Emma, this is childish. Mom and Dad are furious. I laughed. Funny how they weren't furious when you made their only grandchild cry. It was one party. Sarah's voice cracked slightly. We can work something out. James can talk to the contractors, maybe adjust their schedule, like you adjusted your guest list. I cut in. How's that pool maintenance bill treating you, by the way? Silence. Then you know we can't afford those rates. The company won't even negotiate with us anymore. Sounds like a personal problem. Maybe you should have thought about that before deciding my daughter was too energetic for your sophisticated gathering. A knock at my door interrupted whatever Sarah was about to say next. Got to go, sis. Sounds like the landscape architect is here. I opened the door to find not just the architect, but also our mother, standing there with that expression she always wore when she was about to fix something. Emma, this has gone far enough. Mom started, brushing past me into the house. Your sister made a mistake, but this revenge campaign is beneath you. The landscape architect, a young woman named Safia, looked uncomfortable. Should I come back another time? No, I said firmly. Mom was just leaving. Unless she'd like to contribute some ideas for the pool design. Maybe some thoughts on making it child-friendly and welcoming to everyone. Mom's face tightened. You're spending your entire savings on this ridiculous display of spite. I gestured for Safia to sit up at the dining table, where Lily was already bouncing in her seat, ready to share her design ideas. First of all, it's not my entire savings. Unlike some people in this family, I know how to manage money. Second, this isn't spite. It's an investment in my daughter's happiness. Something you seem to have forgotten about. Your father and I have supported both you and your sister equally. Really? I pulled out my phone, opening my banking app. Should we go through the transfers? The ones where I covered Sarah's mortgage last winter? Or the property taxes you couldn't quite manage after helping them with the down payment? Mom's face paled. That was temporary assistance. It was enabling, I corrected. And now you're all panicking because the ATM is closed. Lily's voice piped up from the table, where she was showing Sophia her drawings. Mom, can we have a waterfall? A big one. Of course, sweetie. Whatever you want. I turned back to my mother. You should go. We have some sophisticated planning to do. Emma, please. Mom's voice dropped to a whisper. Sarah and James. They're struggling. The pool maintenance alone is no longer my concern. I opened the door pointedly. You all made your choices. Now you get to live with them. After she left, Safia looked up from Lily's drawings. These are actually really creative ideas. The waterfall could work perfectly with the natural slope of the property. I sat down with them, watching Lily's face light up as Safia began sketching professional renderings of her ideas. My phone buzzed again, a text from James this time. We need to talk. Sarah's not sleeping. This isn't fair. I typed back. Neither was making an 8-year-old cry. Karma's not fair either. The next few weeks were a blur of activity. The house construction moved at an impressive pace. Amazing what priority treatment you get when you're not constantly delaying payments like some people I knew. Every morning, Lily and I would stop by to check the progress before school and work. She loved watching the big machines, and the construction team always waved to her. They'd even given her a small hard hat with her name on it. One morning, we arrived to find Sarah standing at the edge of her property, staring at the massive hole being dug for our pool. Your daughter's name is going to be visible from space, she said flatly, pointing to the design markers where Lily's Splash Palace would be tiled into the pool deck in bright colors. That's the idea. I helped Lily put on her hard hat. How's the water temperature in your pool? I heard the heaters acting up again. Sarah's jaw clenched. We had to drain it. The maintenance costs are exactly what I said they'd be. I checked my watch. We need to go, Lily. Say goodbye to Aunt Sarah. Lily, who had been unusually quiet, looked up at her aunt. I'm sorry your pool doesn't work anymore. You can come swim in mine when it's ready, if you want. Mom says everyone who's kind is welcome. Sarah's face crumpled for a moment before she caught herself. Thank you, Lily. As we walked back to the car, I heard Sarah call out, "Emma, wait." I turned, keeping my face neutral. "I'm sorry," she said, the words seeming to physically pain her. "About the party, about everything. Can we talk?" I looked down at Lily, who was watching this exchange with those wise eyes children sometimes get. "What do you think, sweetie? Should we give Aunt Sarah another chance?" Lily considered this seriously. "Only if she promises no more grown-up only pool parties. Pools are for everyone." A laugh escaped me. "You heard the boss." Sarah stepped forward, her designer sundress catching the morning light. I was wrong, and not just about the party. About a lot of things. Like using Mom and Dad's retirement to buy a house you couldn't afford. She flinched. "They offered. Because you manipulated them. Just like you manipulated me into paying your bills while acting like you were doing me a favor letting Lily swim there." I didn't think. "Exactly. You didn't think. About anyone but yourself." I checked my watch again. "We really do have to go. But here's something for you to think about. That house you're so proud of. The one you excluded my daughter from? You can't afford it without my help. And I'm done helping." "What are you saying?" "I'm saying watch what happens when the power gets shut off in that fancy pool house. When the property taxes come due. When reality finally catches up." I helped Lily into the car. "Or you could swallow your pride and sell now. While you still have a choice. You want me to sell my house. I want you to face consequences for once in your life." I started the car. "But hey, look on the bright side. Soon you won't have to worry about energetic children ruining your sophisticated atmosphere." As we drove away, Lily asked, "Mom, are we being mean?" I thought about this carefully. "No, sweetie. We're being fair. Sometimes people need to learn that how they treat others matters. That being kind is more important than being sophisticated." Like karma? She'd learned that word recently and loved using it. Exactly like karma. I smiled at her in the rearview mirror. And karma's about to make a big splash. Later that day, I received an email from Sarah's bank. As expected, the mortgage payment had bounced. The third time in 2 months. But this time, there was no sister to bail them out. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about stepping back and letting people face the natural consequences of their actions. And as I watched the construction of our dream pool continue, I knew those consequences were just beginning to ripple outward. Because Sarah had forgotten the most important rule of pool ownership. What goes around comes around. And the deep end was looking mighty cold without a working heater. 3 months later, our pool was nearly complete, and Sarah's perfect world was unraveling, thread by expensive thread. I stood on our newly finished deck, watching the sunrise reflect off the infinity edge that seemed to pour right into the horizon. Below, Sarah's once pristine pool had turned a murky green, a testament to 2 months of neglected maintenance. Mom, can I show Katie the waterfall?" Lily called from inside. It was Saturday, and she'd invited her best friend for the pool's first test run. "Of course, sweetie." I called back, hiding my smile as I noticed Sarah standing at her kitchen window, coffee cup frozen halfway to her lips. The girls burst out onto the deck, their excitement practically visible in the morning air. The construction team had outdone themselves. The waterfall was a masterpiece, with multiple tiers that created a symphony of water sounds. The whole pool area looked like something from a resort, complete with built-in speakers playing soft music and color-changing lights that would transform the water into a rainbow at night. "This is amazing," Katie gasped, her eyes wide. "And look, it has your name." Lily beamed, pointing to the custom tile work that spelled out Lily's Splash Palace in shimmering blue and gold letters. "Mom says it's so everyone knows it's a place where kids can be themselves." A car door slammed, drawing my attention to Sarah's driveway. Two men in suits were approaching her front door, bank representatives, by the look of their briefcases. This was the third such visit this month. "Girls, why don't you go put on your swimsuits?" I suggested. The pool team said we could do a test swim once they finished the final checks. As they rushed inside, my phone buzzed with a text from our mother. "Family meeting. Tonight. Non-negotiable." I typed back, "Can't. Pool inspection and certification this evening. Maybe ask Sarah if you can use her pool?" Oh wait. Petty. Perhaps. But after decades of watching Sarah get away with everything while I played the responsible one, pettiness felt pretty good. The bank men stayed at Sarah's for over an hour. When they left, she emerged onto her back patio, phone pressed to her ear. Even from this distance, I could hear her voice rising in panic. "Daddy, please. They're threatening foreclosure. We just need a little more time." "What do you mean you can't?" "But your investment account? Empty?" I turned away, focusing instead on the pool technician who was explaining the custom filtration system to me. We'd spared no expense. This pool would practically maintain itself. "Mrs. Harrison," one of the workers called out, "we're ready for the first swim if you'd like to get the girls." Lily and Katie came running at my call, both in new swimsuits I'd bought for the occasion. As they stood at the pool's edge, practically vibrating with excitement, I heard the unmistakable sound of Sarah's back door opening. "Wait!" Sarah's voice carried across the yard. She stood there in her designer workout wear, looking significantly less polished than usual. "Please, can we talk?" I looked at the girls, then at the pool team. "Would you mind giving us a few minutes?" Once they stepped away, Sarah approached the fence line between our properties. Up close, I could see the dark circles under her eyes, poorly concealed by expensive makeup. "The bank," she started, then stopped, swallowing hard. "They're starting foreclosure proceedings." "I know," I replied calmly. "That tends to happen when you don't pay your mortgage. Mom and Dad can't help anymore. Their accounts, they're drained. Everything they had went into this house, and now," she gestured helplessly at her green pool, "I can't even sell it like this. No one wants a house with a mosquito breeding ground in the backyard." "That's unfortunate. Emma, please." Her voice cracked. "I know I messed up. With the party, with everything. I was horrible to Lily, and to you. But please, help me one last time." I looked at Lily and Katie, who were trying very hard to pretend they weren't listening to every word. "You know what the worst part was?" I asked Sarah quietly. "Not the exclusion, not even making Lily cry. It was the laugh. You laughed when she showed you her new swimsuit, the one she picked specially to match your precious pool tiles." Sarah's face crumpled. "I didn't. You did, and everyone joined in. Because that's what they always do with you, Sarah. They laugh at your jokes, they enable your behavior, they drain their accounts to fund your lifestyle. And I helped them do it." "I'll make it right," she whispered. "I'll apologize to Lily. I'll do anything." I considered this for a moment. "Lily, sweetie, come here a minute." Both girls came over, Lily half hiding behind me as she faced her aunt. Your aunt has something she'd like to say to you. Sarah knelt down, her expensive yoga pants getting dirty on the deck. Lily, I'm so sorry about the party. About everything. I was wrong. You weren't too energetic. You were just being you, and that should have been more than enough. Lily looked up at me, then back at her aunt. Did your pool break because you were mean? A surprised laugh escaped Sarah, though it sounded more like a sob. Something like that, yes. Mom says everyone who's kind can swim in our pool, Lily said thoughtfully. But you have to promise, no more grown-up only parties. I watched my sister, the golden child, the perfect one, the one who never faced consequences, nod earnestly to an 8-year-old's conditions. I promise, she said. No more excluding anyone. I stepped forward. Here's the deal, Sarah. I'll help you clean up your pool and get your house in selling condition. I'll even connect you with my real estate agent. But this is it. The last time. Sell. Her voice quivered. But this is my dream house. No, I corrected gently. This was your status symbol. A dream house is one you can afford. One you fill with love and laughter, not appearances and exclusion. She stood slowly, brushing off her knees. You're right. About everything. I don't know how to be any other way. You can learn. I gestured to the pool, starting with joining us for the first swim, if the girls don't mind sharing their special day. Lily and Katie exchanged looks, then nodded solemnly. Really? Sarah asked, looking between me and the girls. Really. But first, I handed her a pile of papers I'd been keeping in the deck storage box. Sign these. What are they? A formal agreement. You'll sell the house, repay what you can to Mom and Dad's retirement fund, and most importantly, you'll create a college fund for Lily with part of the proceeds. She scanned the papers, her hands shaking slightly. You had this ready? I know my sister, I said simply. I knew you'd eventually end up here. The only question was how long it would take. Sarah signed without further protest. As she did, I heard our mother's car pulling into her driveway. Perfect timing, I murmured. Girls, why don't you show Aunt Sarah where she can change? I think we have an extra swimsuit in the pool house. As they led Sarah away, I turned to face whatever dramatic entrance our mother was planning. But this time, I wasn't worried, because sometimes the best lessons come wrapped in chlorine and consequences, delivered by an 8-year-old who knew more about kindness than all the sophisticated adults in her life combined. And as I watched our mother's face take in the scene, her perfect daughter being led away by the child she'd helped exclude, while her green pool sat as a monument to poor choices, I knew the real splash was yet to come. 1 year later, I stood on my deck watching Lily's birthday party in full swing below. The pool area was filled with laughter, splashing, and the kind of joyful chaos that only a group of 9-year-olds can create. Sarah was there too, looking different than she had a year ago. Gone were the designer swimsuits and perfectly styled hair. Instead, she wore a simple one-piece and helped supervise the kids with genuine enthusiasm. The proceeds from selling her house had been enough to pay back our parents and set up Lily's college fund, with just enough left over for Sarah to put a down payment on a modest condo. Aunt Sarah, watch this. Lily called out before executing a perfect cannonball, something Sarah had actually taught her during their weekly swim lessons. Perfect form, kiddo. Sarah cheered, getting splashed and not minding one bit. Our parents sat under one of the umbrellas, finally looking their age, but somehow more at peace. Dad's retirement fund was slowly recovering, and Mom had stopped trying to maintain appearances. They'd even started teaching water aerobics classes at the community center, a far cry from their country club days. "Remember when you said I'd regret this?" I asked Mom, sitting down beside her with 2 glasses of lemonade. She accepted one with a slight smile. "I was wrong about a lot of things. We all were." "Mom," Lily's voice carried across the water, "can we have the lights on, please?" I pressed a button on my phone, and the pool transformed into a rainbow of colors, drawing gasps of delight from the partygoers. The waterfall changed colors in sequence, creating a magical effect as twilight approached. "Hard to believe it's been a year," Sarah said, climbing out of the pool and joining us. She'd lost the artificial tan and designer highlights, and somehow looked younger for it. "Sometimes I miss my old house, but then I remember what it cost me. Not just money, but everything that mattered." "Speaking of costs," I said, handing her an envelope, "your first dividend check." After selling her house, Sarah had invested some of the remaining money in my consulting firm. She'd also started working for me, handling client relations. Turns out her social skills were actually valuable when not being used for exclusion. "I still can't believe how things turned out," she mused, watching Lily teach her friends the proper way to create the biggest splash. I had this image of perfect sophistication, but I was missing all the real perfection right in front of me. Mom wiped a tear from her eye. "Your father and I are proud of both of you, Sarah, for learning to live within your means and finding real happiness, and Emma, for teaching us all what really matters." "Lily taught us that," I corrected, watching my daughter. "She never lost her joy, even when people tried to dim it. She just needed someone to protect that joy until others could remember how to share it." The party continued as the sky darkened, the pool lights creating a magical atmosphere. We served cake on the deck, and not one person complained about crumbs or mess. Even our formerly pristine mother helped clean up spilled ice cream with a laugh. Later, as the last guests were leaving, Lily hugged Sarah tightly. "Best birthday ever, Aunt Sarah. Will you teach me that new dive next weekend?" "Wouldn't miss it," Sarah promised, and I knew she meant it. As we cleaned up, Sarah helped me fold pool towels. "You know, Emma, that day when you canceled my pool service, I thought you were trying to ruin my life." "I was trying to save it," I replied. "You just couldn't see it then." She nodded. "Sometimes the best view comes after you've hit the bottom of the deep end." Lily appeared in her pajamas, hair still damp. "Mom, can we do one last night swim? Just family?" I looked at Sarah and our parents. "What do you say?" One last splash. We all changed and got back in the pool. As we floated under the stars, with the color-changing lights making everything magical, I heard Lily whisper to Sarah, "I'm glad you learned how to play again." Sarah hugged her. "Me too, kiddo." "Me too." Because sometimes the biggest changes come from the smallest moments. A rejected child, a canceled pool service, a sister who finally learned that true sophistication isn't about exclusion, but about making room for everyone to shine. And as I watched my family floating together in the pool that spite built but love had filled, I knew we'd all learned the most important lesson. Happiness isn't found in perfect parties or pristine pools, but in the messy, energetic, wonderful chaos of simply being together.